Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All good to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome devotees to our morning Bhagavatam class. This morning we will be continuing with Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 18, Verse 3. And we're happy to have Mother Gita with us. It's been a long time since we have not heard from Mother Gita, and we are very happy and very excited to hear from her after Vipralamba Seva. So we look forward to your class, Mother, and it's all yours. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All the ways to Srila Prabhupada. It's good to be back. Sorry for the disappearance.
No problem, Mother. We are glad that you made the appearance back for us.
Pardon me because I still have a lot of cough, so in between I might be coughing.
No problem, Mother.
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahams Parivrajakacarya Stotra Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nand Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद जद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय वृंदावन धाम की जय मायापुर धाम की जय जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय गंगा माई की जय यमुना माई की जय तुलसी देवी की जय समेत भक्त की जय Nitai Gau Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devyam Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayd Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 18, Maharaj Parikshit cursed by a Brahmana boy, verse 3. Utsrajya sarvataha sangam Vignata jita samsthitihi Vayasake jahau shishyo Gangayam swankalevaram Utsrajya sarvataha sangam Mataji samstitihi Vyasake jaho shishyo Gangayam swam kalevaram Utsrijya sarvatah sangam Vignatachita samstitihi Vyasake jaho shishyo Gangayam swam kalevaram Utsrijya, after leaving aside, sarvataha, all around, sangam, association, vignat, being understood, ajita, one who is never conquered, the personality of Godhead, samstitihi, actual position, Vyasakiya, unto the son of Vyasa, Jahau gave up, Shishyaha, as a disciple, Gangayam, on the bank of the Ganges, Swayam, his own, Kalevaram, material body. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Furthermore, after leaving all his associates, the king surrendered himself as a disciple to the son of Vyasa or Shukadeva Goswami, and thus he was able to understand the actual position of the personality of Godhead, and at last give up his material body on the bank of the Ganges. Perfect. The word Ajita is significant here. The personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is known as Ajita or unconquerable, and he is so in every respect. No one can know his actual position. He is unconquerable by knowledge also. We have heard about his Dhama or place, eternal Goloka Vrindavan. But there are many scholars who interpret this abode in different ways. But by the grace of a spiritual master like Shukadeva Goswami, unto whom the king gave himself up as a most humble disciple, one is able to understand the actual position of the Lord, his eternal abode, and his transcendental paraphernalia in that Dhamma or abode. Knowing the transcendental position of the Lord and the transcendental method by which one can approach that transcendental Dham, the king was confident about his ultimate destination, and by knowing this, he could leave aside everything material, even his own body, without any difficulty of attachment. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated, Param Drishtva Nivartate. One can give up all connection with material attachment when one is able to see the Param, or the supreme quality of things. From Bhagavad Gita, we understand the quality of the Lord's energy that is superior to the material quality of energy, and by the grace of a bona fide spiritual master like Shukadeva Goswami, it is quite possible to know everything of the superior energy of the Lord, by which the Lord manifests his eternal name, quality, pastimes, paraphernalia, and variegatedness. Unless one thoroughly understands the superior or eternal energy of the Lord, it is not possible to leave the material energy, however one may theoretically speculate on the true nature of the absolute truth. By the grace of Lord Krishna, Maharaj Parikshit was able to receive the mercy of such a personality as Sukadeva Goswami, and thus he was able to know the actual position of the unconquerable Lord. It is very difficult to find the Lord from the Vedic literatures, but it is very easy to know him by the mercy of a liberated devotee like Shukadeva Goswami. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Translation once again. Furthermore, after leaving all his associates, the king surrendered himself as a disciple to the son of Vyasa or Shukadeva Goswami, And thus he was able to understand the actual position of the personality of Godhead, and at last gave up his material body on the bank of the Ganges. So many wonderful points, not only in the translation, but even in the beautiful purport by Srila Prabhupada. Something that really stood out for me was Parikshit Maharaj surrendered as a disciple to Shukdev Goswami. So very important. If one wants to begin spiritual life, or if one wants to progress in spiritual life, then a bona fide spiritual master is a must. Without a bona fide spiritual master, it is not possible to understand Krishna, to understand his actual position, to understand Goloka Vrindavana, to even go back to Godhead. And here it says that Parikshit Maharaj surrendered to Shukdev Goswami. What does surrender mean? It doesn't mean we just do a Dandavat Pranam on the floor and that is surrender. No, that is just outward surrender. You know, when we see a saintly person, we see senior devotees, we see a spiritual master, or we go to the temple, we bow down. Yes, that is surrender. We are showing that we are humble enough to bow down in front of superiors. But actual surrender means following the instructions of the spiritual master and the Supreme Lord. So this verse gives us indication that after Parikshit Maharaj surrendered as a humble disciple, not just a disciple, 3 kinds of disciples we have heard. So as a humble disciple, when he did that, he was able to understand the actual position of the Lord. And in that situation, in that environment, he was able to detach himself completely. He was not attached materially at all, and he was able to give up his body on the bank of the Ganges. How very fortunate. Firstly, he has a bona fide spiritual master, Shukdev Goswami, in disciplic succession. Secondly, he understood the actual position. Thirdly, he was on the bank of the Ganges. And lastly, he was able to give up his material body without any attachment. Prabhupada has explained that people are very attached to their body, and it is very difficult for the soul to leave the body at the time of death. Why? Because of that attachment. The soul has to be pulled out of the material body. But for a pure devotee, not attached at all. Just like that, the soul can leave the body and go back to Godhead. So, Srila Prabhupada in his purport, he starts off with the word Ajita, which means unconquerable. And obviously, Krishna is unconquerable. No one can conquer him. No one can bring him under their control. No one can know his position. But when one has a bona fide spiritual master's mercy, then Krishna is conquerable. Then one is able to understand Krishna completely. So here we see that Parikshit Maharaj, he surrendered as a humble disciple and came to a state of consciousness where he was fully Krishna conscious. Not that he was not before, but now by the mercy of Shukdev Goswami, he was able to understand Krishna. Now, humble disciple, very, very important point in the purport. Srila Prabhupada didn't just say that he surrendered as a disciple. He says humble disciple. What is humility? We heard in the Bhagavad Gita chapter 13 where Srila Prabhupada gives the definition of humility. He says one is not anxious to get the satisfaction of being honored by others. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has also defined humility. Trinadapi sunichena, tarorapi sahisna, amanina manadena, kirtaniya sadahari. In what state of consciousness one should chant the holy names of the Lord? So we see here from this verse in purport that Parikshit Maharaj, he was very confident that he would reach the ultimate destination. He was able to understand Krishna's energy, material energy, spiritual energy, his eternal energy. And Prabhupada says that when one is able to understand Krishna's eternal energy, then one can easily leave the material energy. No more material attachment, no more materialistic life, no more attachment even to the material body. As soon as we wake up in the morning, the first state of consciousness is, how is my body today? Is it suffering? Is there some ailment? Have I got some more gray hair on my head? What is happening? Everything. Oh, what am I going to cook today because I'm hungry? It's all about body. How about waking up in the morning and saying, oh, today I'm really going to make sure that I chant attentively. Every round is very attentive. Let me make sure today that I read Srila Prabhupada's books. So here we see Parikshit Maharaj, because of the mercy of his spiritual master, he was able to become confident of his ultimate destination. What does Srila Prabhupada say? If you follow my instructions, I'll give you the key to the back door of Goloka. He's ready to give us the key to enter into Goloka Vrindavan, provided we do what he is asking us to do. So spiritual master is very, very important in one's life. We cannot go back to Godhead without the mercy and guidance of the spiritual master. That is a must. So one of the good qualities of Parikshit Maharaj is not attached to the body. I know it is very difficult, but it is not impossible. Bhagavad Gita gives us instructions. In fact, Krishna instructed Arjuna how not to be attached to the bodies of his relatives, but look at them as spirit souls, those souls that are changing one body after another. Prabhupada mentions in his purport that it is difficult to find Krishna from Vedic literatures. One may think, let me read this also and that also. In fact, I came across somebody who said, I've started reading Vedas. And I was thinking to myself, how will you finish it in this lifetime? You've started reading Vedas, and what's the purpose? So I explained, if you understand the Bhagavad Gita, you've understood the Vedas, because Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all Vedic literatures. So Prabhupada says, difficult to find Krishna from Vedic literatures, but one can easily know him if one has the mercy of a bona fide spiritual master like Shukadev Goswami. While I was reading this translation and purport, I was thinking of the wonderful qualities of Parikshit Maharaj. Imagine if we were told that we are going to die in 2 days. That we are going to die in 2 days. We would go crazy. Like we'll have to-do list. I have to do this and I have to do that, this, that. There will be so much, even distress, because so much attachment to the body, cannot give up this body. But Parikshit Maharaj, no matter any kind of distress, he has heard he'll die in 7 days, and that too being bitten by a snake bird. He was not fearful at all. He did not get bewildered. Excuse me. He didn't run around like a crazy man. And he was not doing business with Krishna. Oh, Krishna, I have worshipped you so many years. Why am I getting this distress of being killed in 7 days, and that too by a snake bird? You need to consider all the bhakti that I've done so far. Come on. I'm sure you have a record of all the, spiritual activities I've performed, all the punya that I have earned. So it's time for you to give me fruits of my bhakti. No conditions. We cannot do conditional bhakti. That if I do this, then Krishna, you need to do this for me. But Parikshit Maharaj, Krishna, whatever is your wish, everything is good for me. As Srila Prabhupada says, whatever Krishna does is for our good, because he knows what is good for us. We may want something, but Krishna gives us what we need, not what we want. You see? And here we see, excuse me, Parikshit Maharaj, his state of consciousness is, oh Lord, you protected me in the womb. He's not saying, oh, you protected me in the womb, now you protect me from the snake bird also. It's your job. It's your responsibility. No. And he's not praying, make sure that the snake bird doesn't bite me. I've been hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from Shukadev Goswami for 1 week without eating, without drinking anything. You still want the snake to bite me? Oh, please, save me. No. He did not ask for anything, nothing at all. Many times people do conditional bhakti. If everything goes well, the weather is good, the health is good, everyone is cooperating with me, no one is insulting me, okay, now I'll do some extra rounds. No, pure devotion puts no conditions whatsoever. And here we see Parikshit Maharaj, he could see beyond death. He understood that this material body is nothing but flesh and bones. He knew that even though he will leave the material body, he is not going to die. And he also was confident that when I leave my body, Krishna will be there. Very confident. He was not fearful at all. In fact, Prabhupada says, Parikshit Maharaj was seeing Krishna every moment. That's pure devotion. Many times Prabhupada has mentioned that we can also see Krishna face to face. We can talk to him when we go to the temple. They're not just deities standing there. That's Krishna there. But why is it, I'm talking about myself, why is it I'm not able to see that? Because the eyes are not anointed with love for Krishna. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena. That is not there. So we cannot understand Krishna by reading or by hearing. One must accept a bona fide spiritual master, like Parikshit Maharaj accepted Shukadev Goswami, by taking shelter of the spiritual master, by hearing, by learning, by understanding. And the state of consciousness of Parikshit Maharaj was, he was fully Krishna conscious even at the last moment of his life. Actually, the last moment is the examination of ours. That is when we really come to know whether we have passed or we have failed. Now, before also we've heard Srila Prabhupada mention that Parikshit Maharaj, he had the ability to counteract the curse. He could have done that. You know, when the Brahmana boy, little boy, Shringi cursed, I think his name was Shringi, right? I think, yes, his name was Shringi. When Shringi cursed, Parikshit Maharaj could have counteracted that and in return cursed that little boy, but no. Immediately he started preparing for death. At least he got a notice of 7 days. We don't have any notice. Immediately he surrendered to a bona fide spiritual master, that is Shukdev Goswami. And what did he do? He fasted and he sat down to hear. He knew this material body cannot be kept forever. Just like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, after death, one is sure to be born again. And after birth, death is sure. That's why there's a saying, as sure as death. That is going to happen. So Parikshit Maharaj, he knew all this. And so he started preparing for death. Even though he was a pure devotee, he still wanted to follow the process by which he can become fully Krishna conscious. That's why he sat down to hear from Shukdev Goswami. That is surrender. It's only when he surrendered to Shukdev Goswami that Shukdev Goswami started speaking Srimad Bhagavatam and guiding him. And that is how Parikshit Maharaj was able to understand the actual position of Krishna. Only by the mercy of Guru. We cannot learn this by just opening Srimad Bhagavatam and reading it. You have to hear it from a bona fide source. So, as a spiritual master, Shukdev Goswami explained to Parikshit Maharaj who is Krishna, what is his actual position. He said Krishna is Ajita, unconquerable. But by the mercy of Shukdev Goswami, it was possible for Parikshit Maharaj. And Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport that Krishna is unconquerable in every respect, even by knowledge. It's not that we take on a lot of knowledge, we read the Vedas, when we read this book and that book, and now we have conquered Krishna. No, that is not possible at all. No one can understand the real actual position of Krishna. You know, one may say, let me take on more knowledge and more knowledge and more knowledge in this book and that book. That cannot help someone understand Krishna. No, only by the mercy of Guru and Krishna it is possible. And to get the mercy, one needs to surrender. And surrender means following the instructions. Now in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that we have heard about Goloka Vrindavan, right? What it is like, it's a Chintamani Dham, what's in there, you know, the abode of the Supreme Lord. But there are many scholars who give interpretation and, you know, they interpret in different ways about the spiritual abode. It's not possible to understand like that from, interpretation of scholars. No, we need to hear it from a bona fide spiritual master. Knowledge about Krishna is very confidential. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam, it is a secret, cannot understand. Only by the mercy of Guru can we do that. We can't think that, oh, I am so intelligent, I have this degree and that degree, you know, I'm very good in academics, etc., etc. That is not a criteria to understand Krishna. So Prabhupada says the scholars, they don't know who is Krishna. They don't know who is God. They don't know where does he live. So how can they give knowledge about his abode? Krishna says, Tesham satata yuktana bhajatam pritipurvakam tadami buddhi. That buddhi, that intelligence will come from Krishna only. And what is the requirement? We need to worship him with love and devotion. Only then he will give us intelligence to understand him. Excuse me. And it is possible only when one surrenders like Parikshit Maharaj surrendered to Shukadev Goswami. Then we can understand. And because of that surrender, Parikshit Maharaj was very confident about his ultimate destination. He could understand the transcendental method by which to approach Krishna. See how nicely Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport. Transcendental method by which to approach Krishna. You see? So, if one has heard with rapt attention, with full devotion and full faith, and following the instructions of the bona fide spiritual master, the result will be reach the ultimate destination, which is Goloka Vrindavana. When I read this sentence where Prabhupada says, transcendental method to approach Goloka, very interesting. Srila Prabhupada has given us that method, which is transcendental. We are fortunate. He's given us Krishna consciousness. He's given us books, temples, devotees, festivals, everything. So we should take a full advantage of this golden opportunity of being exposed to Krishna consciousness. The process given by Srila Prabhupada is the transcendental method to go to Goloka Vrindavana. But the choice is ours. What do we want to do? Are we interested in going to Goloka? If the answer is yes, what are we doing to prepare for our death? Many people don't like to hear that word death, but it's a reality. Just because we don't speak about it doesn't mean it won't exist. It is there. We see so many of our relatives leaving the body. Death is for sure. So what are we doing to prepare ourselves for death? The very first step is attentive chanting. Someone was telling me that they heard someone else talk about this in a lecture, that it takes this devotee 3 minutes to complete one round of chanting. How many of you agree to that? Raise your hands. That you can finish a round in 3 minutes.
One round in 3 minutes, Mother?
Yes.
No, that's impossible.
64 rounds in 2 hours.
Impossible.
Exactly.
One round takes at least 7 minutes.
Exactly. 7 to 8 minutes.
Approximately, yes.
You see? That is not attentive chanting. 3 minutes, one round is not attentive chanting. So the first step is attentive chanting. Srila Prabhupada says, if one chants attentively 16 rounds minimum, follows 4 regulative principles strictly, associates with devotees, reads his books, then one is sure to go back to Godhead. This is what will please the spiritual master. And when the spiritual master is pleased, Krishna is automatically pleased. So here, the last point that I would touch from this verse is that Parikshit Maharaj, he gave up his body on the bank of the Ganges. How very fortunate. On the bank of the Ganges, having a spiritual master like Shukadev Goswami, having heard Srimad Bhagavatam for 7 days, fasting completely nirjala. What a fortunate position. Understood the actual position of Krishna, fearless. not attached to the material body at all, and then gave up his body on the bank of the Ganges. Very, very fortunate. When I went to India, I reached Delhi, and the very same day I came to know that a very dear God sister of mine was in ICU in the Delhi hospital. Every time I went to Vrindavan, I would stay in her house, and we would associate, we would talk, we would serve together. She would take me right in front, of the deities at Mangal Aarti, and yeah, spent years and years together. So I immediately went to see her in ICU. And as soon as she saw me, she started crying. And I also, had tears, and I kissed her on her forehead, and I said, "Don't worry, you'll be fine." She didn't look fine at all. Of course, if she's in ICU, obviously she wasn't fine. I told her she could barely speak. So I told her, no need to speak, and I will see you again. Of course, I went back to the temple guest house, and the very next day I fell sick, very, very sick. So I couldn't go to the hospital to see her. I could barely walk. So after a few days, I think about 8 to 10 days, maybe a week, she was discharged from the hospital, and she came to the Delhi temple guest house. Her room was just across from mine. A devotee informed me, and I immediately went to see her. And she looked better. She had a little more strength to talk. We talked. And she was talking very softly. We talked. And then the next day again, I went to see her. And we had such a relationship that she could, call me and say, Purushottam month is coming after 3 years. You need to come to Vrindavan anyhow. This is how her tone was. You must come. And somehow or the other, I couldn't go for Purushottam month. But whenever I told her I'm coming, she would give me a shopping list. I want this, this, and this, all for her deities and spiritual master, etc., etc. So this time when I went to India, I didn't call her. I don't know why, but I just took thinking all the things that she would need. And so I took that gift back to her. And, immediately she was so happy. And, she said, why don't you take it to Vrindavan? You're going there. And when I come there, I'll take it from you. And so I left for Vrindavan. I stayed there for about a week. And then I went to, there also I was very sick. So I didn't want to see anybody do anything. Then I went to Mumbai, and I came to know that she left her body. So I was in shock for a long time, because I just met her. I just talked to her, and she was improving. So the reason I'm telling you this is to show you how she prepared for death. While she was in Delhi temple guest house, she was asked to go back to the hospital for a follow-up. And she refused. She said, no, take me to Vrindavan. Radhashtami is coming, and I want to be in Vrindavan. Her husband insisted. She said, no, take me to Vrindavan. She came to Vrindavan and didn't tell anybody because she didn't want any visitors. She was very tired. I was in Vrindavan at that time, and I didn't know. And then on Bhadra Purnima day, at 4 a.m, she talked to her son in California, and she talked to her husband. And at 4 a.m, her husband was telling me all this. And she closed her eyes, and she was chanting with a smile, and she left. On Bhadra Purnima day. This is how you prepare. She probably knew that she has to go back to Vrindavan. She cannot leave her body in Delhi. Of course, she had a cardiac arrest, and then she left the body. But we have to be very, very, very careful, very careful. Every moment is very precious. And Prabhupada says, every moment lost can never be bought by any amount of money. And we don't know when is going to be the last moment. So from this verse, we can learn how to prepare ourselves for death, like Parikshit Maharaj. Translation once again. Furthermore, after leaving all the associates, the king surrendered himself as a disciple to the son of Vyasa or Shukdev Goswami. And thus he was able to understand the actual position of the personality of Godhead and at last gave up his material body on the bank of the Ganges. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mother Gita, for such a deep, contemplative class. Very, very meditative. I hope we all really benefited from this, and we really at least had one or two takeaways, one or two realizations, one or two thoughts, really to go deep into our own Krishna consciousness. Would like to ask devotees if you have any questions, and I hope we do. Any clarification, any points that we want to get more answers to, please do unmute yourself, or please post the question in the chat and I'll be happy to read it. Mother, when you spoke about Maharaj Parikshit, which actually I have to say that I did not quite knew that he became, that he surrendered himself as a disciple to Sukadev Goswami. The way Srila Prabhupada put it was like, oh, like it didn't click. So that was something very new lesson for me. But when he was given 7 days, Mataji, he never fought it. He prepared, and he became so detached, he really absorbed himself. And nowadays we find that we live in Kali Yuga, where there are so many challenges, so many distractions, so many I wish, that we forget the purpose, we forget the goal of our life. Amongst all these, attachments and distractions and whatever, how can we make our minds, Mother, to come back on the path when we go off the path, to come back on the path and really realize this is the purpose of my life?
Yes, it's very important that we associate. Association of devotees helps us. Just like, why is it that Srila Prabhupada said, read my books? Because when we read his books, we associate with him. Or when we hear his lecture, we associate with him. So if we make it a point to hear one class of Srila Prabhupada every day, read his books every day, and associate with devotees, like most of us, our families, we are all Krishna conscious, so we associate with each other. When we do that, then we are in safe waters. But extra effort needs to be put in. Just like if I want my business to flourish, I have to put in that extra effort, as they say, that extra push. And that has to be a conscious effort. Not only a conscious effort, but a sincere conscious effort that, some planning is done. If my rounds are not, all of them are not attentive, then I need to plan my day in such a way that I'm able to do that. You see, for instance, sleep early, wake up early, chant in the Brahma Muhurat, make sure, I'm not chanting in a empty stomach, I'm hungry, because the mind is going to go here and there. So planning is required, and association. These are the two things that can help us. Also, unfortunately, I have a doctor's appointment. So if I can leave in about 5 minutes.
No problem, Mother. Completely,
but
Mother. I'm just so happy that you inconvenience. I'm actually grateful and thankful and sorry at the same time that you inconvenienced yourself to give the
No, not at
class
all.
in spite.
Not at all. It's my pleasure. It's just that I don't want to miss the appointment. You know how hard
Absolutely,
it is
mother.
to get doctor's appointment.
Absolutely, mother. And we request devotees, if you have any questions, you can definitely send it to me, and I'll be very happy to share it with Mother Gita by email, and she can definitely answer, and I'll share it back with you. And we will let Mother Gita get ready for appointment. But Mother, we are very happy that you're back with us.
I'm also very happy.
Really happy that you're back with us.
Thank
We
you.
really thank all the devotees for joining us. Vanchakapdibhyascha, 3% Bevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Have a wonderful day, devotees. Hari Hari Bol. And Mother, we pray for your quick recovery.
Thank you. Sorry for leaving early.
No problem, Mother. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.